I really apologise because I've got to speak in English. So, another case study from the festival that I know best. If you had been at the Edinburgh International Festival this year, you would have seen in the programme for the performance you were at an introductory paragraph about the festival that said something pretty astonishing. The fact that the 12 major festivals in Edinburgh that are held there each year generate over £261 million, that's 313 million euros of additional tourism revenue for Scotland, and that they sustain the equivalent of 5,242 full-time jobs. The Edinburgh International Festival was founded in 1947. Its founders believed that the festival should, as they said, provide a platform for the flowering of the spirit. But they also recognised that if the festival succeeded in its artistic ambitions, it would create a major source of revenue for Edinburgh and for Scotland. They were obviously right. The €313 million figure is additional tourism revenue generated by the festivals for the whole of Scotland. The economic impact figure for Edinburgh is £245 million, 293 million euros. The figures come from the Edinburgh Festival's Impact Study 2011 and are based on evidence from 2010. The economic impact was assessed according to principles laid down by the Treasury, the Finance Ministry of the British government, which mean that only the economic contribution which is genuinely additional has been considered. To put the figures into context, the contribution to Scotland's economy from golf, which is commonly thought to be a principal reason for visiting Scotland, is estimated at only €229 million. As I said, the festival was founded in 1947, in the aftermath of the Second World War. It was designed to counter the bleakness of that time and to bring together people divided by conflict, most famously reuniting the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra with its former musical director Bruno Walter, who had had to flee Vienna in the face of the Nazis. The structure of that first festival has essentially remained the same until now, presenting a curated programme of classical music, opera, theatre and dance. In that first year, 1947, 8 groups turned up to perform uninvited. Not being part of the official programme didn't deter them. They staged their shows anyway, and thus became the seed that was to grow to be the Fringe. It grew and grew. In 2010, 40,000 performances of 2,453 shows were given as part of the Fringe. The film festival was also set up in 1947, making it one of the oldest film festivals in the world. Subsequently, 9 other separate festivals have been created or have become independent. They are the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo, the Edinburgh International Science Festival, the Imaginate Festival, which is a festival of children's theatre, the Edinburgh Jazz and Blues Festival, the Edinburgh Arts Festival, Edinburgh International Book Festival, Scottish International Storytelling Festival, Edinburgh's Hogmanay and Edinburgh Mela. All 12 festivals are held annually, and 8 of them happen at the same time, the last 2 weeks in August and the first in September. A Scottish Government research project showed higher footfall in the main shopping street in Edinburgh in those 3 weeks than in the lead up to Christmas. Retailers are obviously beneficiaries of the economic impact of the festivals. They receive 6% of the total. 37% goes to accommodation providers, 34% to food and drink establishments, and 9% is spent on transport. The population of Edinburgh, of 500,000, more than doubles during those 3 weeks. In 2010, according to the study, there were 4,272,228 attendances. That figure sounds suspiciously accurate to me because it includes both ticketed and free events, and I'm not quite sure how they were that accurate. The number of paid attendances, though, was 1,008,390. Interestingly, of non-Scottish audiences attending the festivals, 44% had attended before. On average, they'd attended 4.5 times. The impact study didn't only look at economic impact, it also researched social, cultural, environmental, and media impact. One interesting fact it revealed was the attitude of residents to the festivals. 89% of those interviewed agreed the festivals increased their pride in their home city. This, of course, is in contrast to the attitude to tourists in Venice or Barceloneta. It wasn't always like that. When I first went to the Edinburgh Festival as a teenager, a long time ago, the hostility to visitors was openly expressed. I was shouted out on a bus once for being a visitor to the festival. And I think things changed during the 15 years I was there, not because of me, but because of various things that happened during that time. Firstly, the growing reclam of the festivals nationally and internationally. Also, a policy of inclusion that we adopted in our different ways as different festivals. In the International Festival, for instance, we did a series of late-night concerts of classical music with the greatest classical artists performing, with every seat for €5. And I think also because of the involvement of young people in the fringe. Residents, children, take part in the fringe and therefore give it a popular feel for everybody. Edinburgh is, like Girona, in many ways the perfect festival city. Very beautiful and the ideal size. It also has the experience of 67 years of presenting festivals. When I left Edinburgh, I was asked to join the board of a new festival that was being set up in Manchester. Not a perfect festival city. It's a large industrial city, the second largest in the United Kingdom. It's very ugly and it rains almost continuously. The initiative to create a festival was taken entirely by the City Council. They wanted, and I'm quoting them, to raise the profile of Manchester, draw in tourists, and attract inward investment by positioning the city as an international centre for culture, to increase community cohesion and improve the quality of life for people who live, work and study in the city. Nothing original. The festival they created is biannual and programs exclusively new work and commissions. There have been 4 so far, and they've been extraordinarily successful. A study last year calculated the economic impact of last year's festival at £38 million, it's 44 million euros, and that is in return for a subsidy from the City Council of 2.9 million euros. But it is important to remember that economic impact is only an ancillary benefit. Both studies carried out on it in Edinburgh, one in 2004 and the other that I've been quoting, explicitly emphasised the paramount need for quality and innovation. It's the art that changes people's lives, a factor known well in this city. We are at a moment of potentially huge change in the concept of what a performing arts festival should be. Obviously, digital technology offers all sorts of untold opportunities and, of course, some threats. The one opportunity I like the most is that it enables us to enable an individual to enter into complexity, to put that individual into direct contact with the artist in a way that has never been possible before. Equally, I think we should not underestimate the effect that high-definition live relays of performances to cinemas is going to have. We're at the very beginning of that. Things are changing fast, but I think they are going to change a huge amount of what festivals are about in the future. They could be a driver of quality, but they will certainly demand the distinctiveness of a place and a program, and make, I think, what Salvador said even more pertinent and important.